What's up guys, Nate here with Hood Racing Co. and we're back at it. So today we're going to be talking about the Scott rod panel that came in for the car. Now, I don't know if it's just because I'm only a state away from them or what. Apparently Scott Rods is based out of Ohio, from what I understand. When I placed my order for my cowl panel piece that I got, they have to prepare the order. They don't always have stuff on hand that they can just readily ship, which is fine, not a big deal. Contacted them, got my order placed. They had my order prepared yesterday, and I made my payment, and it showed up today. Fantastic. That's Amazon shipping right there. But here's our piece. So you can see it has a relief cut for the passenger side hood hinge, and then it's got a relief cut for the wiper, and then our driver's side hood hinge. Fantastic piece. Now I opted for the aluminum, not the steel, because I'm going to be riveting this in, not welding it in. Gives it a little more of a race car-y, jet fighter cockpit kind of deal. If you know, you know. But fantastic craftsmanship. The quality is outstanding. I've never been so impressed by a piece of metal in my life. So I'll definitely be ordering the rest of my stuff from Scott Rods Fab. So shout out to you guys. You guys rock. You can see here, I've been doing some marking because what I want to do is I want to shorten this panel. And let me get this on the cowl panel and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so there she is. So again, this is just a raw piece. It's not held in or anything like that. But it looks really nice and it really cleans up that top section of the firewall. No more Swiss cheese like I had mentioned in the last episode. But my issue is it covers up the holes for that factory firewall to hood seal that I have that you saw me replace a couple of videos back, because mine was pretty nasty and whatever, and I'd ripped it off years ago. But I have this nice new one I want to use, you know, and this panel covers up those holes. Now, not a big deal, we can remedy this. I want to use this panel and that weather strip. I feel like it'll be a more complete, more OEM-ish look. So that's what I'm going to do. So I did some measuring and whatnot, and I marked all the hole locations on the top of this piece. It's kind of hard to see, just little lines of Sharpie, but that gave me my locations. And then I measured from the top down to get my markings. So I did a straight across because the top of the cowl is a flat surface, whereas the bottom is the curved that you can see here. Let me get a good reference there. So flat on top, curved at the bottom. We can fix that, not a big deal. So basically what that means is this flat line here is gonna be our cut, our first initial cut to make at least the middle hose for the that weather stripping where all the clips go into the firewall. It'll expose those, and then I can make my curved cuts that I did here, and it'll kind of take away some material from this, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And this will expose the rest of them here, and we can paint this, rivet it in, and install our molding again, and it should be a good looking quality almost OEM piece by the time it's done. Because I've seen cars that have these panels without the weather strip, and yes, it looks phenomenal with that panel, but you can tell that there's something supposed to be there on top from the factory, you know what I mean? If you're really looking at it, it's just little stuff like that. I feel like, again, little details, it can make or break the build, I feel like. But so yeah, that's my plan, is to shrink down that panel up top and then mount it accordingly, and we'll be able to use our molding that we have to install there. So I'm gonna start cutting, I guess, and we'll start doing some test fitting and mocking up, and I'll let you guys know how it goes, so stick around. All right, so there she is. As you can see, removed a decent amount of material from the top. This side I notched it just to minimize the material loss we would have from cutting this piece up. But the driver's side ended up being dang near right on the money, which is awesome. So my math wasn't too far off. And this doesn't hang under where the seal sits, so there won't be any gaps. It'll look like a full, complete thing, which I'm really happy about. So I think the next step will be to start drilling holes, and I'll put rivets in place to kind of like, just to hold it while I'm drilling. We'll figure out our rivet locations and whatnot. And then once that's all done, from there we can get this thing ready, get it cleaned up and ready for paint, and then we'll get on to installing it. All right, so after what seemed like forever, we finally have this thing primed and painted. I just hit it with some Rust-Oleum primer and satin black, just so it has that matte finish that the rest of the engine bay will have. It'll be a whole matching theme here. So should look good when it's done. Hopefully it'll be dry by tomorrow. It's a little on the cold side today, but if it's dry by tomorrow, we'll throw it in and get it riveted in. So should look good by the time it's done. As you can see, I vacuumed all this out, got all the metal shavings out, gave it a good wipe down and clean up, just so it's all nice and fresh and clean. So yeah, I'm excited. It's a cool little thing. So like I said, let this dry for the rest of the night, and I'll pick back up with you guys tomorrow. All right, so there it is, the finished piece. I am super happy with how this came out. As you can see, we got a few scratches from trying to reinstall that weather stripping piece we have here, but I think it looks great. It looks complete. I love it. I don't think it could have came out any better. So we did a quick respray on the hood hinges, just a quick satin black, just to kind of clean them up a little bit. Got the wiper motor reinstalled and all that, but it looks phenomenal. I couldn't be happier with that. So now that that's done, I'll kind of show you what I've been up to elsewhere. So as you can see, we got this door jamb taped off. Kind of went through, cleaned everything, wire wheeled some scaly stuff. Redid the seam seal in this area, so that's ready to go. So yeah, we're just going to hit her with some paint so I can at least get this jamb painted, and then we'll start working on that door, getting the inside of that redone and cleaned up. And yeah, hopefully soon we can get the door back on the car. So that's going to be the next thing. So let's get into it. So cut number one's on. Like I said, I'm just doing the door jamb. I'm not doing anything else. It went pretty well. Try to keep it light. I don't want any runs or anything in this area. I want this to be all nice and pretty looking. So yeah, I dig it. So I'll probably keep doing this, and then I'll probably drag the door outside and start cleaning that up and getting the inside of that ready. And yeah, we'll just go from there. So I'll let you know how it goes. All right, so here's the finished product. All spick and span, nice and clean looking. This is just Rust-Oleum gloss black. Again, I'm just doing the jam so I can get the door back on the car. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side once I finish that rocker. And this will allow me to paint the car as a whole versus doing panels independently. So I've also been working on the door. I'll show you that real quick. It's looking a little doomy and gloomy today, but here's the door. Again, just did the outside jam with gloss black and kind of did into the door panel area. I'm not concerned with painting the whole door because the door panel is going to cover it. This is also just the first coat, so it's not absolutely perfect, but it'll definitely do the job. But yeah, I think it'll come out pretty decently. I can get the door back on, and that's one less panel that's sitting on the ground. Alrighty, so the door is back on the car in all of its pride and glory. So as you can see, I can't shut the door all the way, and the reason for that is, if you guys are familiar with these cars, they are wet spaghetti noodles, right? They are wiggling and shimmying and whatnot. Basically, without the frame rail fully done, no K-murmur in the car, and the car up on jack stands, it's basically contorting the car. And because of that, I can't set the proper latch point and alignment of the door on the car because it's being contorted. So final body panel adjustments will have to be made once the car is on all four corners, like on the ground. But not a big deal. I got the door latched here. My buddy Nathan came over and gave me a hand getting the door back on, trying not to scratch anything. This handle kind of gave up the ghost, but it's all right. I have another one I can swap it out with. So as you can see here, everything's nice and clean and pretty. Door jamb still came out really nice. I did put a little blemish here from trying to align everything. Right there, you can kind of see it. But that's fine. I honestly that's nothing compared to what it could have been. So thank you, Nathan, for coming over and giving me a hand with this. Couldn't have done it without you. I do have the new booster and master on the way, so whenever that gets here, we will get back onto rebuilding the frame rail and strut tower. But I just want to show you guys this, that the door is back on. Unfortunately, I can't align it yet, but it is what it is. It's one less thing sitting on the ground, so slowly but surely, we're chipping away at it, and it's getting there. All right, so we are now back, and as you can see, the driver's side strut tower and frame rail is completed. Now, this would have been something I would have liked to record, but I honestly just wanted to get this done and get it done as quickly as I could. It ended up coming out pretty decent. Trying my best to grind everything down and smooth it out. It's not perfect, but it's definitely looking decent enough, and I'm cool with that. So a couple things to note. I found out that on 79 to 86 cars, the strut towers are actually narrower, and as the years progressed, they actually got wider and slimmer. So basically to accommodate the booster sizing that changed throughout the years. 79 to 86 cars being the smallest, and then 87 and up, they started slowly staging up depending on what you had. And then all the way up to the 93 Cobra, which was the biggest. So as you can see, I slotted the holes in the firewall to try my best to accommodate the booster, but we still did have to do some convincing on the strut tower. So all I did was convince the strut tower first, because the booster showed up, and then I was able to build around it accordingly, and it turned out okay. I have like this much room between the booster and the frame rail or strut tower, which isn't a big deal. They'll never see each other anyway. So we have a bunch of new stuff that's going to be going in the car. You can see we kind of started going through the harness here. We slimmed it down a lot, got a lot of fusible links out of the way, got down some unnecessary wiring that wasn't being ran to anything anymore. Fingers crossed that this harness still works, because I might have butchered something. I don't know. You never know. But so yeah, we got our booster, our master, our new proportioning valve, new brake lines. So we're going to try and get all that ran today, and I'll get back to you guys when I got some more for you. All right, so we're pretty much done for the day. I got to order more parts and whatnot, but I do want to go over all of what we accomplished today, so you guys can do the same thing at home if you'd like. So we have the engine harness installed in the car. As you can see, we started cleaning it up and going through it. So we got rid of all the fusible links, tested taped everything, used the factory grommets and whatnot, got that all laid out, which is perfect. And then we had to make the new brake lines. Let me climb up in here and show you guys. So as you can see, new proportioning valve. This is a UTS auto unit, I think off of Amazon. It was only like 40 bucks. And the cool thing is you can pop the cap out and gut it and reuse the stock cap. The LMR one does not thread into it, the one that I ordered for the car. So I ended up, like I said, just gutting it and putting the stock cap back on, and it was fine. I did reuse the factory mounting bracket for the proportioning valve. It ended up being savable, so I cleaned that up and painted it. And then we got our new brake lines ran. So you can see they just like sneak under the brake booster and then go up the fender apron, and then they tuck under this lip here where we used the factory clips that would have mounted it above that seam from the factory. And then we have our new Willward proportioning valve with the line going out of that hole, and then the right front brake line also going down into that hole. So pretty clean little setup. And then we have our Rock Auto Special SKF branded 93 Cobra master cylinder. It was like 72 bucks, I think, off Rock Auto, and it has an adjustable push rod. And then I got this Ray Besto's remanufactured 93 Cobra master cylinder. And you can tell it's a 93 Cobra master cylinder because it's got a rake towards the front of the car, and the rear port is actually offset. Not a lot of people notice that, and they'll have all these issues, and then they realize they have the wrong master cylinder. So just something to take note on. I do have a new firewall clutch adjuster coming. I got the steering column boot back in. I do need to get a new throttle cable as well. That's one of the things I'd like to replace. But yeah, it's coming along pretty good here. Got everything adjusted on the booster, so there's no like unnecessary preload on the master cylinder, so we won't have to worry about scrubbing brakes or nothing like that. Yeah, just a pretty easy, pretty clean little setup, honestly. I'm very happy with it. We also got the pedal assembly in the car now, which I'll show you. So we went through and actually put new bushings in for the brake pedal and the clutch pedal and greased everything up. You can see we got our grommets here. I won't be using the stock hood latch, so I ended up putting a grommet in that hole as well. But yeah, pretty straightforward setup. You can see there's a lot of wires missing here that we're not using anymore. So yeah, slowly but surely it's getting there. Oh, and one thing too. So for you Fox Body guys, if you have a manual like non-power door or non-power car, with power doors, like say you had to change doors for whatever reason because of rust or an accident or whatever may happen. This is a power door from like an 89 GT or LX or something. It was a power door. I ended up finding these grommets on Amazon for like 12 bucks. It was a 4-pack. It's a 1 11/16 grommet. The magic number is actually somewhere around 1 7/8, but with how soft these grommets are, you can pretty much sneak them right in. They don't really put up too much of a fight. So let's see here. Drill hole. I don't know if that's the right description, but yeah, I kind of had to destroy the box here. But there's what they look like. They're really soft, really malleable, very easy to put in, and they'll keep elements from coming in through the door because I won't be running the stock wheel well liners. So to kind of keep stuff out of the door, that's what we're doing. So yeah, not too bad. You can see I just kind of started cleaning everything up. Like, I got everything ground down and whatnot on the inside, and then I went through and undercoated the top of the K-member and the bottom of the frame rail. So whenever we sandwich these together, we don't have to worry about corrosion, hopefully for a long time. So I still have more brake lines and whatnot I have to make. I also need to figure out a grommet for this little guy right here because I do have wiring that I did have running through that because I didn't want it just coming out of the firewall. So I'll have to find a way to redo that. But obviously, like I said, we still need to undercoat this whole area. I need to go pick up some more Rust-Oleum Reform and Seal. We can continue on with that. But yeah, this side's done. So now I just mainly need to finish cleaning up this to where I'm satisfied with it. And then figure out how we're going to lay the harness out because I do want to go with the Scott Rod fender apron panels. But I'm not going for a crazy wire tuck either. And I kind of want to keep the battery up front in the factory location just for the nice, use of having trunk space. So I don't know. I got some stuff to consider with that. But it all came out really nice. I'm really happy with it. You can see we also got our new Willwood proportioning valve here. So I have it all the way out right now. So this is, what does it say? Less brake. So you open this, or maybe it closes it, I don't know. And then you just twist it. So I don't know. We'll have to play with it once the car's running and drivable. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I know I didn't show a lot of getting to this point, but like I said, it was all pretty straightforward. A lot of just kind of bolting stuff together. Like I said, the worst part was just making the brake lines, which really wasn't bad all of its own. Now, another thing to note here, if you guys do go with this proportioning valve from Amazon, right? I haven't used it yet. I don't know how good it's going to work, if it's going to work at all. So the rear lines, those 4 rear fittings, rearward of the proportioning valve, are all 3/8 by 24 threads. And then up front is 7/16 by 24. So something to keep in mind because I'm pretty sure all the fittings on the stock proportioning valve were 3/8 by 18. So just something to keep in mind if you do have to change your proportioning valve, that you might have to run fitting adapters or change the fittings and refire your lines altogether. But yeah, so pretty productive day, I'd say. It's starting to look like a car more and more. I'm loving the way this engine bay is coming out. It's very simple, very clean, very practical, and usable. It's a nice clean looking setup, but it's still functional. It's it's gonna be driven and whatnot. So I like the fact that it's new and fresh, but it's just simple, which is exactly what I was going for. So I couldn't be happier with how this is going. But so yeah, hopefully the next time around we'll get some more parts ordered. I need to get the hardware for the brake light switch for the pedal assembly. I have the switch itself, but I don't have the plastic washers or the clip that's supposed to hold it. I don't know where that stuff went. It was all in the car, so maybe I'll find it, or maybe I'll just have to order more. But yeah, we'll get some more stuff ordered and hopefully get some stuff in the car. Now, I also found a gentleman on Marketplace that was willing to cut out a rocker section and ship it to me. So I'm still waiting to hear back from him. But if we can get that going, I can get this rocker fixed. And once this rocker's done, I can paint the door jamb, throw the door on, and the car will be pretty much ready for paint. Because summer's right around the corner, and I'm trying to get this stuff done. So another thing is, I know I keep going off track here. Once we get that frame rail and stuff all done and to my liking, clean up all this stuff here, paint it all, then we can focus on cleaning up the motor and getting it repainted and whatnot and dropping it in. So again, keeping fairly the same setup. If I can find another air gap intake, I would like to do that, just because that intake performed a little bit better for what I was doing with this car. The Performer 289 is still a good intake, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have the air gap. And I'm also looking at like a new radiator hose kit and whatnot, trying to figure out a new alternator bracket, because this one's kind of weird looking. It's just kind of thrown and cobbled together. I need to order another aftermarket harmonic balancer, which I'll probably do at some point. So we got a little bit of stuff to do motor-wise. But, yeah, man, slowly but surely, she's coming together. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in and sticking around. And hopefully, you guys learned some useful information. And, yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video.